Hello and welcome. Sunnyview Public School has served the needs of elementary students with physical disabilities for almost 60 years. 131 students are bused to the school daily from across Toronto. These students receive intense support to address multiple physical, communication, intellectual, and healthcare needs.
Are these oranges? Yeah, okay, count the oranges for me.
Sunnyview is an extremely important school for some very special needs children. It is one of our congregated schools. In other words, the whole school is devoted and focuses on the special needs of these kids.
Do you remember what he did? He went, bubble, bubble, toot, toot, chicken.
The students at Sunnyview are from kindergarten all the way to grade 8. We have students with a variety of physical challenges. They might have cerebral palsy or spina bifida. There could be students who were blind or deaf, hard of hearing, who had other mobility issues, who used wheelchairs for mobility, or who required, extensive support beyond what you would see in a regular community school.
A lot of the children who attend this school have been in hospital for a long time or have to occasionally return to hospital. Many of them have had surgeries. So it is a challenge for the teachers to provide continuity and the kind of support that they need.
And what does Froggy say? What? Come on in and swim. No, I don't want to.
Working with children with disabilities is fantastic. You grow every day. It's a challenge. I get stressed. I go home and I kind of have to let go a little bit, but the kids just bring out the best in you, and you just have to be on all the time. And it's amazing to watch them start in September and just blossom. Probably about 6 months it takes till they're sort of used to you and you're used to them, and just see their growth, and they love school. That's what I always say about Sunnyview. The kids love school. They want to be here. Their friends are here, and they just blossom and grow, and it's wonderful.
Is he gonna go in the water? Think he's gonna fall in the water? Yeah.
You think you're going to plan one activity, and all of a sudden a child's hungry, or they have to go to healthcare, or they're having pain, or something's happening. You have to just bang, change, and think of something else to do. And I think it does take a different kind of teacher to be a special kind of person to be able to do that. You have to be flexible. You have to think, okay, I'll do an activity and it's not working, so I throw the book up and I do something else, because maybe it's just not working for those children. And you have to really, I think, keep thinking and changing your sort of focus of where you want to go.
Good. Fun, You were right before you had the N.
You just do it. I don't think I think about it, and people always from the outside say, oh, you're so patient, and I don't think about that. Because it's just what you do day to day.
We are fortunate at Sunnyview in that we have one teacher and up to two educational assistants working in each of our classrooms. And so with class sizes up to 10 students, it really provides an opportunity for the students to get that extra special intensive support that they need to be successful. To promote exercise.
The future of this model for education is interesting, and I think a question mark. Right now the trend seems to be towards more integration. There is a very big debate on if the school should focus specifically on children with special needs, or the kids should be integrated into the greater population. And of course there's pros and cons for both. I like the idea of parents having the choice. If they want their kid in a congregated school, I think that that's wonderful, and it should happen. And if they want the child closer to home, that should happen too. It's a very dicey question. I think the Ministry of Education is moving more towards integration, but there's a resistance, and part of the resistance would be from me.
Really?
Yep, and they did.
Well, when I walk into the school and I see people who have expertise that these teachers have, because they've worked with so many children with special needs, when we see a school that is purpose-built to accommodate these children, you can't help but say, this is the place for them. On the other hand, I think it's absolutely fine and just if parents want their kids treated just like any other child going to their local school.
She is known as the toy doctor, but the specialized creations that Dale Zimmerman comes up with often go beyond just playtime.
I've worked at Sunnyview for 15 years. 7 of those years were in a classroom working as an ed assistant with the kids, and the last 8 years have been here in my workshop making equipment for the kids. Primarily, I would be called in by a teacher or a therapist or anybody else who's working with the child. And if there's a problem or something that they need to access, then we work together and try to figure out if there's any way that we can find a way for a child to access equipment.
We're going to check all the straps and possibly add a chest strap to this one.
Dale, the toy doctor, is able to create sort of the things that you can't find in a catalog on the shelf. She helps us to modify, to adapt, and create things that the kids need so that they're going to be successful. So whether it's a special case for an iPad that we can't find that's out there commercially, to modifying eating utensils or other work that they're going to do to keep things on the table or to allow the kids to take them off the table to get the skills that they need to be successful in life. I'm not sure how we could do Sunnyview without Dale. Okay, good. Is it with just the one swing?
No. After I was in this job position for a while, the TDSB decided that they wanted to broaden my job, and I now do adaptive equipment for all of the TDSB for what they call their low incidence sites. And that is mostly their physically challenged kids and some of their cognitively and autistic kids. So I would make equipment now for the whole board on the request of teachers or therapists working in the rest of the board. And it's become a pretty huge job. There's no downtime, it's always busy, there's always jobs to do.
You know what I need you to do first? I need you to relax this arm. Can you do that? You're squeezing me.
My job is pretty unique in that I think that there's nobody else in the TDSB that does a job like this. In fact, they've had to make up a job description for me. But in a way, it's not unique. There's people all over doing things like this for these kids that work with these kids. They do it all the time. And when I run workshops, people bring things in to show me and say, oh, look what I did for this kid. And some of the ideas that I use for some of these things are not all my ideas. People come in with the ideas. I have the knowledge to sort of make them happen. My shop is in the basement of the school. We had to find a space to put it in, and we thought the basement would be good because it would contain the noise. And it was also an available space. So this room was a storage room, and primarily it had the summer camp things in it and a lot of things from teachers who hadn't been here for years, and maybe a couple of dead animals. But we got rid of them and cleaned out the shop, painted the floor, had it wired up, and then brought the machines in that summer. We have a lot of machines in here, primarily woodworking machines, but over the years I've been able to do some fundraising for some specialized machines. So I have a vacuum former that forms plastic. I have a CNC router that works on plexiglass, wood, or plastic, and a full shop of woodworking tools. And a couple of the tools in here are mine that we didn't have money for, so I bring them in and use them here during the year. Whenever there's a real problem with a job, I find that I'm thinking about it all the time. And sometimes I can come right down here and come up with an answer and put something together, be back upstairs in 15 minutes. Some days it'll go on for weeks. I just can't figure out what it is, but it doesn't go very far out of my mind. I just keep thinking and thinking about it. I may go into a store and something may trigger. I might see something on TV moving in a way that makes me think that something else would work. I get my ideas wherever I can, wherever I see them.
For your yearbook or something.
When I go up and work in a classroom with a child, they know I'm there to help them. And they know that sometimes things are going to work and sometimes they're not, but I try to tell them it might take a couple tries until we get this right.
Good girl.
The kids inspire me because they're always willing to keep trying and keep trying. And when you see kids that are that physically disabled trying so hard to access communication or a toy, it really inspires me to keep doing what I'm doing.
And what's this one? The most fun one?
Volleyball. I heard in volleyball there was people who were cheating. The adults.
No one I know.
Did the adults cheat?
typically the kind of things that I create are things that might help a child access something. So whether it's wiring a switch into a toy, or finding some way of putting a marker into a child's hand, or giving them a way to access a switch. Not all of our kids can access a switch by hitting it with their hand. They might want to hit it with their head. They may only be able to use their toe. So part of my job is getting that switch into a position where they can use it. For one particular boy who is severely disabled, basically the only reliable thing that he could do was move his feet. And so I had to position almost a shelf under his feet that he could tap with his foot to access a switch and then access a computer. Other things that I do, I might do sewing to make lap belts where the kids need weight. I sew things that we call ankle huggers that hold a child's foot onto a bicycle on the pedals, and do a whole adapted pedal for our kids, because a lot of our kids can't keep their feet on a pedal. So that's made out of plastic and material. I do things that fit on computers, making it easier for the kids to access the keys.
Which one would you like? There's no yellow there. Which one of these colors? Orange, orange? Orange?
This is a T-ball launcher that I made for our gym program here. And it's to give the kids some independence instead of coming up behind a child who's in a wheelchair and putting your arms over top of them and doing the batting for them. This can give them some independence. So it's all made out of plumbing fittings from just a building construction store, and a bungee cord to hold the bat, and you hook it on like this, put the ball on there, and a child just has to wheel up to it in their wheelchair or even stand beside it and just let it go like this.
Red, okay. So I'm going to take the paint here and put it inside one of these adapted, or it's just the water cartridge for this adapted squirter.
I can find something to do with this job in just about every store that I go into. I was at a Zeller's and I found a water gun that you didn't actually have to pump like a normal water gun. It was run by batteries. So I bought it and I brought it home here and I adapted it for our kids to use with a switch. Our kids don't have the fine motor skills to hold onto a gun and pull the trigger to make it work. So I rewired it, so all that they would have to do is hit a single switch to use it. Guns aren't allowed in school, so I didn't buy it as a gun. What I ended up buying it for was a paint squirter. And we did all sorts of things with it. We used to put food coloring in it and go out and paint in the snow. But the last project that the school has worked on with it is our art teacher has used it to do some fabulous canvases that were sold at an art auction. And it usually takes two kids, one hits the switch, one moves the paint squirter back and forth. It's all camouflaged with black plastic, so it no longer looks like a gun. And it creates some really neat artwork.
Hi, my name's Bree and I'm the expressive arts teacher here at Sunnyview. And today I have Hillary and Christina with me, and we're going to be demonstrating how to use some adaptive equipment in our art program to help children with less access points and ability to hold paintbrushes and markers. I don't want paint on me. I know how you operate. We have a large painting over here in front of us that we're going to spray some paint on and create a painting that will be similar to ones that we sold in the fall. We sold $165,000 worth of paintings using this technique and various other techniques, and we're excited to demonstrate this for you today. That's it, up there, up this corner up here. That's it. What'd you think?
Yeah, that's great.
Awesome. Good job.
You painty hands. You don't scare me. I said that.
Awesome.
I guess what I do is typically a man's job. I do a lot of basically woodworking and construction in here. But it's what I grew up doing and it's what I enjoy doing. But I bake too, and I do girly things. I sew. And the staff made fun of me today coming in dressed up, because I usually just have an old t-shirt. I have an old apron that I wear over top to catch all the glue and paint and varnish. But they all know the girly thing about me is the perfect French pedicure in my work boots. A lot of the things that I build ended up being very unique for these kids. And people have asked me, why don't I patent these ideas? First of all, it costs a lot of money to patent it. But second of all, I don't want to control the ideas. I want to share it. I have a website, and I've got right on my website, if you want to build one of these, contact me. I'll tell you how to build it. I'll send you instructions. What I want is to get access out there for the kids. there's too many people that are selling this kind of stuff, and because it's so unique, it's very high priced. And parents want to be able to build their own sometimes. So if they want to contact me, they can have my ideas. They're welcome to them.
To meet the special needs of its students, Sunnyview Public School works alongside with community partners. That includes researchers from Holland-Bloorview Kids Rehabilitation Hospital and nurses from St. Elizabeth Healthcare.
This is Corvin. He is in grade 5. He's 11 years old and actually turning 12 in 4 days.
Corvin is one of the students that we work with. He's a very bright little boy, but very constrained by his body. He has a lot of physical disabilities and a lot of extraneous movement involved in his disability. So it's very hard for him to control any of his physical movements. One of the things that we found with him, though, is he has very good control over his vocalizations. So we have actually a custom device that he's using now that picks up on any sound that you make. It picks up on the vibrations in your vocal cord, and it can use that to act as a switch to turn things off and off, to make on and off, to make selections on a computer, and whatever he wants to use it for.
I have a sister named Astrid. Do you have any brothers or sisters?
Good job, mister. The devices that we develop are usually developed over at Holland-Bloorview with myself and as well as engineering students that we take on as interns and summer students. We have, as I mentioned, the Hummer, which picks up on vibrations in your vocal cords. We're developing one right now that is going to be used to detect when an individual is sticking out their tongue. Many of the students here use sticking out their tongue as an indication of yes, so it's something that they can already do, that they're familiar with. And we're developing something that is essentially a microphone inside an earplug that's going to detect changes in the pressure in your ear canal when you stick out your tongue. We're also working on video-based switches which can detect changes in facial features. So if you're mouth closed or mouth open, or smiling or relaxed face, blinking, open eyes, that kind of thing. And we are also working on hopefully a custom eye tracking system. The eye tracking system we're developing in hopes that it will work with the iPad. So we have a license from Apple to work on software for the iDevices. It's essentially going to be a portable system that will work with some of the apps that are already existing for communication on the iPad. Most of the eye tracking devices that are out there right now are very expensive, so we're hoping to make something low cost that is actually more accessible to most families.
Alphabet.
The iPad we're using for most of the students who are at a level of higher communication. So for students who have communication books but haven't been able to get access to computerized systems before, we're working with the iPad and an app usually called Go Talk Now that is available on the market. Anyone can buy it, but it's very flexible, allows us to customize the program for each of our students depending on their needs, depending on what kind of vocabulary they want. And it's been very successful. It's Switch accessible, so it works very well for us.
So what we've done is we've created different grids and different items that Devora can actually say because the program will scan, and when it gets to the item that Devora wants to say, she can actually select it with her head switch. So, Devora, is there something that you want to say using your iPad?
One of the goals of the lab is to, especially for the children that we work with who have tried a lot of things that are currently on the market and they aren't ideal for their abilities. So one of the things that we try to do is look at the ability of the child, and then if nothing exists for it, make something that will work with that ability. If their ability is to smile or stick out their tongue or blink, then we will make something that will pick that up and that will work as a switch for them using that.
It is, okay.
So one of the most special things about the program is that it's actually in-house. Usually these services are provided in a consultative manner, which works, but there's less time one-on-one for each child. And speech-language pathologist here, the engineer, the occupational therapist, 100% of our job is on working with these children specifically on access, technology, and communication. So that is all we do. We're in-house, we're here for them 5 days a week whenever they're here. If they're having problems with their technology, we can support it. If they need to make changes, we're always here and around to do it. So that kind of service isn't currently available anywhere, and that's one of the things that makes it very unique.
What's up?
He just asked you what's up.
Working with kids is fantastic. They're hopeful, and they're perseverant, and just an incredible group of people to work with that make you say, this child obviously really wants this. I need to make this easier for them. I need to make it happen.
Do you remember this classroom? This was the first classroom you were in when you were in JK. I've been working for St. Elizabeth for 17 years. I've spent 15 of those years working at Sunnyview School. St. Elizabeth is a community nursing organization, and they provide home support and nursing, OT, PT, speech and language, and social work in the community. And it's an agency that's over 100 years old. The school program was started by the late Dr. Joan Lesmond at Sunnyview in 1985. So we have a long history here at St. Elizabeth, and it's a history that we're very proud of. There's currently a team of 7 St. Elizabeth nurses at Sunnyview School, and what we do is we meet the needs, the nursing care needs, of a group of children who are very medically complex. So what we would normally do over the course of the day is we will administer G-tube feedings, we will do respiratory assessment, we give medications. We're coming down the hall here, Matt. Good boy. So thank you everybody for taking part today. And I think while we're together as a group, we can just maybe review our suctioning procedures. To be a nurse in the school setting, you have to be a registered nurse or a registered practical nurse, and you have to have a background in pediatrics, and you have to be the kind of person that enjoys working as part of a team, and you also have to have really good communication skills because you're working with the Toronto District School Board staff, as well as you're working very closely with the children's parents. We also do a lot of liaison with the Hospital for Sick Children and Holland Bloorview. And then we're going a full turnaround. You can feel it actually lock in. The rewards of working in this type of a setting certainly balance out those days that are what I guess we would call tense. And sometimes children do get sick at school, and we have emergency situations that we've had to cope with in the past, and we work as a team. We've got each other that we can depend on for advice and support, and certainly the school staff is great. There's been times when we've had to call 911. What we tried to do was we tried to make the nursing care as non-invasive as possible. So we spend a lot of time with our scheduling. So we look at what can we do during a recess break, what can we do during the lunch break. So we look at timing the nursing intervention so that they don't interrupt classroom teaching time. And I think that that's one of the really important things that you have to consider when you're working in a school setting, because the children are primarily here for an education, and so the nursing is in place to support the educational process. And so we do a lot of planning to meet those needs. Back to the class.
To find out more about Sunnyview Public School or other special education options within the Toronto District School Board, please visit this website. That's it for this edition of Accessibility Toronto. I'm Shannon Fitzpatrick, and thanks for watching.